First of all, I should tell you, I have a very depressing view of Uganda, in which case I could be blind to many things that the government of Uganda is able to do, which I would be happy about. But this is my experience. According to, Uganda has developed something called NDP4, National Development Plan 4, which goes up to 2040. So the projection is that we should increase our economy tenfold. I will use IMF figures. Uganda government has its own figures, IMF has its own figures, but I like to use one standard which I follow very closely. The IMF says Uganda's GDP rate now is about 64.6 billion. Let me say 65 billion. So our plan is to grow the economy in the next 15 years to 650 billion. Right now, to grow that economy to that level, you need huge investment in infrastructure. Let me begin with transport infrastructure. You need roads, highways, railways, water ports, you know, like they want to do at Bukasa and the Port Bell. Because an economy of 640 billion would be bringing huge volumes of cargo and taking huge volumes of cargo out. Now, so that is one. You need to invest huge amounts of money in huge projects to build 6 to 8 lane highways to the coast. That standard gauge railway, they have to do it. Then you have to build a big port, move a lot of cargo into the sea. Point one. The second, you need huge volumes of power to drive your factories and a growing middle class and a growing industrial base, your manufacturing. Then, of course, you need a huge infrastructure for your ICT. So, let us look at our good Uganda. Right now, to move from Kampala along a Jinja Road to Jinja, from Jinja to Iganga, to the border either in Malaba or Busia, is a nightmare. The road in Mavera Forest is broken. There is, of course, a diversion in Mukono you can take, which is, what do they call that road?
Kayunga.
No, Katosi Road. But the ability of government of Uganda to launch and complete these major infrastructure projects is characterized by apathy, indifference, incompetence, corruption, foot dragging, and false compliance. In 2015, I chaired the investor conference on the Jinja-Kampala Expressway. The projection then was that construction would begin 3 years later, 2018, and end 4 years later, 2022. We're in 2026, they have not even hired a company to do that road. So that's why it takes you 3 years to move from here to Busia. Government of Uganda, when it comes to building dams, whether you take of Jagali, Karuma, and now we have Ayago, it can take on average 20 years between doing feasibility studies, contracting, getting bids and tenders, and then negotiating contracts, commencement of construction, and completion. It takes a minimum, let me say, of 15 years. Uganda right now has total installed energy capacity of about 2,047 megawatts. Of that, only 1,500 is effective supply. If you switched on everything, it can give you only that. And peak demand is about 1,350, which keeps growing at an average annual average rate of 13%. So by the end of this year, we will not have electricity. We shall be entering load shedding. Leave the problems of transmission and distribution and the losses you suffer along the way. This country is running out of electricity rapidly. How does anyone expect these things to function? Now, for me, in that podcast, I was recommending that what Museveni needs is to get government to function. But Museveni has suffered 3 things. First of all, him as an individual is physically and intellectually exhausted. It comes with age. He has been in power for 40 years. The amount of load he has put on himself has broken him. He's a broken man. And anyone who thinks that this is Museveni of 1990, 2000 to drive things is not that. Is not there. 2, by his very nature, is a very patient man. He calls strategic patience, but what he calls strategic patience has become inaction. That's why I was telling you there is a problem with Uganda Airlines. I'll give you an example. On voting day, Uganda Airlines flew from London, Gatwick to Entebbe. It had 11 crew and 10 passengers. It cost us, that plane is an Airbus A330, is 800. It costs us $16,000 per hour when it's flying. Since it's 9.5 hours, let me say 10 to London, that's 160,000. You have only 10 passengers in economy. Even if you assume that each passenger bought that economy class ticket at 800, that's $8,000. You're burning $160,000 to carry.
8,000.
There are more crew on the plane, pilots and crew, than passengers. Why are people boycotting this airline? In any other country and any other situation, a public-owned enterprise in Uganda Airlines, a president would have taken action. Where is President Yoweri Museveni on Uganda Airlines? On the 9th of January, Uganda Airlines flew from London Gatwick to Entebbe, 9th January. It had 21 passengers. On 12th January, it flew from Dubai to Entebbe with 10 passengers. People are boycotting the airline. What is the response to this loss of confidence in the airline? They were having delays of how many hours? Days. In London, 3 days. Dubai, 2 days. Lagos, a whole week. So, a president who's acting, and remember, we give a subsidy to Uganda Airlines of 120 billion a year. That notwithstanding, as I speak right now, Uganda Airlines owes its suppliers $80 million, but that's a hidden subsidy. You owe Civil Aviation Authority, you owe everybody else who supplies you. In fact, twice or 3 times, many times, not once, twice. We have, there is a time we are trying to overfly Eritrea. They said, but you have not paid your overflight fees. They turned the plane. People were going to Dubai. They found themselves here at the landing. You know, from here to fly over Eritrea is halfway to Dubai. So it takes 5.5 or 6 hours to reach Dubai. They found themselves at Entebbe. They thought they had arrived in Dubai. Another time, the Prime Minister of Uganda was going to Tanzania. Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority stopped Uganda Airlines midway and said, you have not paid your landing and overflight fees for so long. Turn the plane. Uganda government had to call Tanzania and beg and say, please allow us, we'll try to find the money. So you are giving 30 billion every quarter. That's 120 billion a year to an airline. Then it has debts of $80 million it cannot pay. So that's about 300 billion. 300 billion plus 420 billion in a year. And then you have 5 passengers. The losses are growing at an astronomical rate. And a president is not taking action. That is the Museveni you're going to have for the next 5 years, I can tell you. And if you have Museveni acting like that, it's a disaster. Now, me, I have my solution. People may say, I declare conflict of interest. General Mwenda Kainerugaba is a personal friend to me. But for him, he is different in the sense that he believes in quick, decisive action on things. If it was if he had his way, Uganda Airlines would be streamlined by now. People would have gone to jail, others would have been thrown out, and better people would have been replaced within a short time. And I'll give you a practical example. Next year, we are hosting with Kenya and Tanzania CAF, Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, Africa Cup of Nations. We are supposed to build stadiums. I went with him to Kigali. They have built a marvelous stadium at Amahoro and an arena next to Amahoro. And yes, President Kagame, who did this? He said Sumo. He brought those people here. I'm the one who took them to State House to meet the president. In less than a year, there is a world-class stadium. You can find it in very few countries in Africa. You might go there and see it. Because Museveni has allowed state action to degenerate into bureaucratic wrangling, bureaucratic procedures that are meaningless, archaic, and arcane. You see? So you need a person who can act on his behalf. Now let me tell you, I understand. Remember, although I'm an outsider to the power structure in Uganda, I'm also an insider. So I'm an outside insider to the system. So I am able to be outside, but I can be an outsider seeing it from within. The system is so captured and held hostage by different powerful factions. You can get the best manager for Uganda Airlines or for anything to run the government. People will maneuver at State House to talk ill about that person, undermine them, sabotage them, obstruct them. That CEO or that head of a government institution or minister has limited access to the president. The people who have the ear to the president will tell him a mountain of lies. So this person either will be crippled from working or will be fired or whatever it is. Let me tell you, if you want government to work, get a leader of government business called Mwenda Kainerugaba as Prime Minister and leader of government business with full power to act. Who is going to Museveni to tell lies about Mwenda? In a way, he can go and counter the lie the next day because he has access. Access means a lot. He will grab many of these Ugandans who have been playing around. These borders will arrive everywhere. You will have this city cleaned. We will have the mess resolved, government working. Now, of course, people say, you see now, Mwenda, we are supposed to wrote an article opposing family rule. Now, yes, I am a realist. You can bring the best human being, and I will tell you he will not succeed. Not because he doesn't have the skills. He does not have the necessary political weight to tilt the balance of political action or the balance of politics into effective state action. You can't do that. You have to be realistic. You ask me, Prime Minister Muhoozi Kainerugaba, lead of government business, and he will have a program what we call performance-based management. Your Minister of Internal Affairs, these are your targets. Your Minister of this, and this is the result I want. Anything else, I don't want to hear it, you are fired. You steal things, you go to jail. And you will not tolerate all this kind of nonsense. Now, Museveni may not heed my advice, but it is the best thing that can rescue him because Museveni has been given huge political capital. He must spend it. And if I was Museveni, I would be really worried. Because, why would I be worried? One, I'm conscious of the fact that, you see, I'll give you an example. Acholi region, in 2021, Museveni got 55%. Now he got 81. West Nile, he got 64. Now he has 77. Lango, he had 62. Now he has 81. Everywhere you read, Museveni's performance has gone very, very high, right? So, but voter turnout was very, very low. In fact, these high margins of Museveni are a reflection of the weakness of Bobi Wine across the whole country, except in Buganda and Busoga. That is one. But also, which implies the second thing, that there was a lot of ticking from Museveni. So although he has a huge political capital which he can spend now, and if he does not get somebody to run government, and please, President Yoweri Museveni, listen to this old man of the clan, please don't appoint anybody. There is no Ugandan I know who can run a government for you. People, you know your system, you don't maybe know your system, your own system. But you're an old man, people will manipulate things that person will not perform. Just get them who's there. And don't be shy about having your son as prime minister to run the government. Don't be shy. Just be tough, because you've been given a huge mandate. Do utilize it. You've been given political capital, spend it. You should spend it because of another thing. Only about 40 to 45% of Ugandans showed up to vote. It tells you that anything between 60 to 55% of Ugandans didn't vote anyway. What are their feelings? These are the people that need to be brought back into the political fold. Uganda need to be brought back to believe. One of the reasons people are not voting, few people believe that politics is a vehicle for progressive improvement of the country. If you live in Uganda, you know it doesn't. And if M7 has also one, it's because of PDM. You know, PDM, you get 1 million, give it to somebody, every village you're pushing their money. I mean, you cannot drive a system purely on such bribes. You need to build a system on faith. You know why Jesus, he died 2,000 years ago? He had 12 followers only. By the time he was hanged or crucified, all of them had forsaken him, including Peter. Before the cock crowed 3 times, the guy had denied him. So he had no follower at the point of his death. Now he has billions. Why? Because people have a faith that when I go to Jesus, my sins will be washed away and I will go to heaven. You see, there must be a faith Museveni gives. It cannot be because you gave me $1 million shillings. People must have some ideological faith, and to rebuild that faith in the state and its politics and the government as a theater for progressive improvement of people's lives, we have to begin. When you're building your house, you begin where visitors come. You begin with the city here, and you begin spreading into the country. If Kampala is the most difficult thing to improve, the day we succeed in improving Kampala, this country will be fixed. Because it will be easier now to go to Fort Portland elsewhere where there is less concentrated resistance and achieve great results. So that is, if you ask me what I see, we have huge potential in the event that Muhoozi is Prime Minister. We have very little potential if that doesn't happen. Maybe they bring, I don't know who, it is him. I don't see anybody who has the energy, the zest, and the forcefulness to crack a couple of limbs and skulls to get things to work in Uganda. This country needs an imposition of a particular discipline for it to get out of its abyss.